Alright guys, welcome back to the WPF to Blazor migration. This is the Snake edition. And yes, so last time we finished the snake. We also fixed a small error, multi-threading error. So yeah, now it's time to, when the game ends or when you're trying to show the high scores by clicking the high scores button. Yeah, it's time to load those high scores and also save the high scores. And yeah, since it doesn't really make sense to save the high scores in a text file just locally, because this is a web application, so people all around the world can use this web application, it makes sense to store the high scores in a database. So yeah, to do that, we will use MongoDB database, and yeah, we will create an API to access that database and yeah, save the high scores so we can write and read our high scores from this database. But yeah, before we start, there was something else that I saw while playing around with this. And actually, let's cancel the. It's already running. Let's cancel it one more time. Let's go to the main window view model. Uh, Check if snake. Yeah. Let's uncomment this again, because this error is easier to see when we uncomment this. Alright, now let's run it again. Oh yeah, and what I also wanted to do, there's a couple things I wanted to do, but yeah, let's just get it started here. Alright, so here we go, we got the page, and yeah, the first thing that I noticed was when we stretch this out a little bit, yeah. Okay, so let's go to the high scores. So yeah, the background here is ultra wide. And when we go back to the main menu, it's so it has a max width. So I think I missed setting the max width somewhere. Let's go main menu, and then let's also open up the high scores, CSS. Let's put those next to each other. And yeah, so here we have a max width of 50 rem, and yeah, we didn't add that here. So let's do that. And now when we go to the high scores, yes, we also have that max width. Yeah, I mean, could probably make it smaller, but yeah, let's just have that the same. Let's just check real quick. Everything else looks good. Min height, okay, yeah, whatever. And yeah, we can also do the min height right here. There we go. Okay, now everything seems to be the same. Okay, and now let's go back to this here and let's go play the game. Alright, so when the game is over, we should, switch to the. Oh, okay, we get this arrow. We gotta comment this out. Don't need that. Will it keep running? Probably not. Yeah, it's supposed to switch now to the main menu page, so we still have to implement that. And also, while we're here, I looked up the colors for the snake, so let's do that. So we got green as obviously, yeah, that's the easy one. FF00. And then here we have the 00C800. And the last one was 009. 600. And now now we have the same colors as they are in the WPF application. So we got that. And now, yeah, well, okay, I don't have to show the arrow because I already explained it, but yeah. So we want to switch to the main menu page when we lose the game. So when it's game over, basically. And to do that, let's copy this guy right here, and then we'll call it game over action. Yeah. So we got the game over action, and we will implement that in the constructor. No command methods. Where's that game loop? Okay, and then if we are here, yeah, if we get below this, then it's game over. So we can say, hey, game over, question mark, check if it's null. Ah, okay, game over. And then invoke. Of course, I wrote it wrong. It's not just game over, it's game over action. And in the game page, we will also inject the navigation manager, nav manager, and then we will hook up this action, the game over action. Game over action is gonna be equal to the nav manager dot navigate to, and then we have to set the path, which is high scores. And now when it's game over, we should switch over to the high scores page, hopefully. Yeah, let's check if this works. So what do we got here? Yeah, non-nullable, blah blah blah, that's fine. Empty switch. Yeah, these are all fine. Okay, so we got the start. Oops, what happened there? Oh no, it's running. Okay. It's game over, and then, yeah, we go to the main menu page. And, yeah, and then we can start the game again. Yeah. Alright, so that's working. Game over page. Alright, now, so, yeah, let's start with these scores. Okay, so those are things that we fixed here. Okay. Alright, and to set up, I don't know if you guys want to see this, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. Yeah, so here this is this is for free. You can log on to MongoDB, and yeah, here I will create a new project, and this is gonna be so tutorials project. Next, this. then I will create a database, take the free one, free version, and I'm in Germany, so I'll take Frankfurt here, and the cluster I will call it Snake cluster, and then I will create that. And here I will use username and password. And I'm just going to generate a new password here. And then I'll copy this. And create a new user. I'll just set it up locally for now. It's already got my IP address added, so yeah. And then I'll finish and close this, and then I'll go here to databases. So now we have a snake cluster, and inside here we will set up our actual collection. This is where it's basically a table, so that's where we'll have our our data. So this is going to be the snake DB, and then the high scores. That's the collection name. High scores. Yes, high scores. And yeah, that's it. And then we'll create that. And now we have our high scores collection. So yeah, it's empty right now, but yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, so next, let's close all this. Next we'll have to create a another project. And this is going to be our database access library, which we'll use to do all the CRUD operations with. So let's say I do a new project. So yeah, this is this is going to be the class library, and yeah, this is where we'll do the database access. So MongoDB access, and then put that here. Let's create the. Actually, let's delete this first here. Delete. Let's add a new folder. DB access. And then in here we will add a new class. We'll call it data access. Here I'm going to convert this to file scope, change this to public, and then we will create the private const. We'll need the connection string. So this is the string that was used to connect to our database. So don't know what that is yet. I'll find that out in a second. And then we got the database name, which is Snake DB, and then we got the collection. Let's just call score collection, and that name is high scores. I think that's what it was. High scores, yeah. That's our collection name. And then we will we have to add a NuGet package. So let's go to NuGet packages, browse, and then MongoDB.driver. Yeah, so MongoDB.driver, install that. Accept, and once that is installed, we can close this again, and then we can say private iMongo collection of type T. I mean, we could just say of high scores, but we'll do it the generic way. So you could basically use it for other things too. So connect to Mongo, and then we'll say in string. It's kind of passing in here this collection by reference collection, and then say for our client, so new Mongo client, and then we'll need the connection string, and then we can access the database, which was client.get database. So, and here we need the database name, so that's database name, and then finally we can return the collection. No, it's get collection. Here we go. So get collection of type T. No, not tag. And here there we go. Okay, so why are we getting this error? Still have to clarify the type T here also. Okay, and now we can create our first query to our database. So basically we can say public async task, and yeah, let's return. We have to create a model, so let's do that. New folder, and we'll call this data, and then in here we'll say high score model. Also convert to file scope, change out and turn it to public, and here we have the public string. We need an ID. For each high score it needs an ID, and then we can say public string. Each high score has a name, so set that up, and then each high score obviously needs a score. So that here we can say Bison representation Bison type object ID. So, and then here we'll say object ID dot generate new ID, and then toString. So what this will do is every time we create a new high score model, we'll automatically create a new string, a new ID, and then we'll convert it to a string. Okay, and so that's done. So we got the high score model. Now here we can say, yeah, we want to return a list of high score models. So get high scores async. It's going to be an async method. And here we can say var so this is going to be the high score. Actually, it's too much high score. Let's just say the score collection, and we'll say connect to Mongo, and here we'll say high score model, and then we'll pass in the collection high score collection. Oh, we have to await this? No, we don't. Oh, I have a spelling error, so it's I connect to Mongo. Okay, so we got the score collection now, and then we can return from this collection results await score collection dot find async, and then we will return anything that is basically not null. So yeah, and then we can return the results to list, and there we go. Okay, and let's also add a new query to save or create a high score. So create high score, and here we'll pass in the high score model, high score, and then we can copy this part up here, paste, and then await score collection insert many insert one async, and we'll pass in that score. So actually we can just make this a task and return the task, so I don't have to wait anything. Alright. Okay. And now let's create our API, which will call this data access. Let's extract an interface out of here. So control dot and then extract interface. Perfect, now we got that. And now we'll add another project. Right click, add project. And this will be a web API. Next. High score API. And framework, configure HTTPS. Docker, we don't need it. Use controllers, no. We're going to do a minimal API. Enable API. Alright, yeah, just leave it all checked like this. And then we'll create. Okay. Okay, I deleted that folder. Let's create that again. Alright, here we go. Now it's working. Alright, so now let's set that. Let's set the API as the startup project. And we will also add a project reference to MongoDB access. And then we will, okay, that seems to be resolved. Let's go to program.cs and we can remove this example code right here. I'm going to copy this part. Gonna need that. No, cut that out. And then here I'm going to delete this part. And then I will write app.configure API. And now I'm going to add a new class and we'll call it API. Make a public static void configure API with a, call this, no, web application app. Let's make this static also. Okay, and then I'll paste in that code that was there before. Okay. And here we will create our API put, post, get, and delete operations. So yeah, let's jump right into that. So here I'm gonna say hi scores, and then we have to create a method which will be private static async task of type iResult, and then we'll say get high scores and then we'll do a try catch block. So catch, and then exception E. And here we will return the results. Okay, and await. Now we have to add the iData access that we created. Data. And then we can call our get high scores async. Oops. And here in this catch block we can say instead of OK we'll say problem, and inside the problem we'll put the exception message. And now we can use the high scores method and put that into here. So now for our first operation, for our first endpoint operation, we can say high scores and get the high scores, which we'll call this method right here. Configure, okay, configure API. Alright, and now let's create a post operation, which will be the create high score. So here, create high score. And here we'll say private static async task, and then the same, we'll return an iResult. And here we'll have to pass in that high score model. High score and our iData access data. This iData access we will inject with dependency injection. So let's do that now before we forget. Here under builder dot services, I will add as a singleton. Yeah, singleton. iData access data access. There we go. And then here we will do the try catch. Again, now let's just copy this part. And then we'll just replace whatever we don't need. So here, we're not really returning anything. So create high score. Oh. Let's make this also, let's mark this as an async method. Let's go to data access, create high score async. There we go. And here we're passing the high score object. Okay. Alright, so now we got two operations and we can test it. Well, first we need to hook up the connection string and our no, we have the snake DB high scores. And to get the connection string, we go back to our collection and or to our database right here. And yeah, here we can say connect. And to connect to our snake cluster, we have to copy this. This is our connection string right here. And this is where you paste your password. So you have to replace this with the password. So let's go here. Let's copy that. And I already forgot the password, so I have to make a new one. Configuration. No, not here. Yeah, and to edit the password, you have to go down to database access, go to edit, edit password, generate a new password, copy that, and yeah, update the user. Alright, now I have it copied. I mean, here's I'm showing you guys my password, but it doesn't really matter because I will update this coming up anyway. So yeah, but this is how you set up the connection string. So now let's test it. Let's try it by adding some high scores and then returning them. So I set up the high score API as my startup project, and now we should open up a browser and which we will be able to call our operations. And this uses Swagger to visualize or help with the visualization and testing of our implemented queries here. Okay, accept this. All right. So here we got the get and post operation. So if we come here, we try it out, we execute, the list should be empty. So yeah, success, response is an empty body, alright, that makes sense. Post, string operation, alright. Okay, let's click here, try it out. We can edit this, test, and 10. Let's execute. Oh, okay, we need a 24-digit hex string. Alright, 24-digit hex string. Let's create a 24-digit hex string. That's probably yeah, that's the bson object ID. But yeah, let's just generate one real quick. Here we go. Copy this, and let's try that again. So let's paste that into here, and execute. And now, yep, there's a success. And now if we do an execute on get operation, we have our first high score in the high score list. Alright, so yeah, that seems to work. And yeah, this video is already 40 minutes long. So yeah, now we set up our MongoDB database, and we created a project or a class library which um, wraps up all the query operations, and which we connect to our database and then get data and post data to our database. And then we also created a high score API, which will be the main entrance point for um, the web the web application. We can also use the high score API for our desktop, so all the WPF scores can also now be not only saved locally, but we can also save them in the database. So this can be reused in the WPF application. So we can have three databases. So one is for the Blazor application, one for the WPF, and one for the Android. Or we can all have the same high score list. So either if you make a high score on WPF or Android or from Blazor, um, we can add and retrieve those scores from there. So yeah, this is now basically a cross-platform uh, yeah, entrance point or endpoint for all of our applications, and we can all share this database. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful thing, and yeah. So next we'll do the HTTP requests, which we'll have to send out from our applications to the API, and the API retrieves or sets the data from the database. So that's the chain of command here. So it's the client up in the forefront making the HTTP requests to the API. The API gets or sets the data in the database and then returns it back to the client. Alright, so yeah, next time that's what we'll do. We'll do the HTTP requests in the client, and then we will start showing those high scores in the end in our high scores list. Alright, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.